I'm excited for the mobile industry in general. It is absolutely exploding, and I love the fact that there are so many AAA titles coming.
StarBeast, man, thank you so much for joining in on the podcast today, becoming a creator and talking about your journey a little bit and getting into some of the nitty gritty here. It's going to be a lot of fun, man. Thanks for joining in.
Wow, well, it's an absolute pleasure to be here with the man, the legend himself. I mean, I'm so excited. You're kind of guy that I've always looked up to since I arrived here from Twitch.
Hey,
So,
heck yeah.
I'm so excited. And again, I apologize in advance if my voice is a little bit weird. I'm a little bit sick. Gonna try my best. So we'll see how it goes.
Couple rapid fire questions to start you here. All right. You're
All
a
right.
massive sports fan, frequently repping Blue Jays, Raptors, Manchester United. If
Mhm.
all three of those teams were in an Apex Legends Battle Royale, who would win it?
Oh my God. I'm gonna an Apex Legends Battle Royale. I'm gonna have to go with my Toronto Raptors actually, because I'm a huge Raptors fan. That's my number one team, man. So I gotta stick it up for them. I don't know. They're just very intimidating. That you're seeing a guy across from you that's like 7 feet tall. If you're in a LAN tournament or something, I'd be intimidated. So
For sure, for sure. For COD Mobile, playing on touchscreen or connecting a controller to it?
I love this question. It goes back to how I arrived here from Twitch to Facebook. I arrived and I was kind of big on Fortnite. I was big on Overwatch. It was pretty tough coming over. I'm not gonna lie. Like it's quite difficult bringing viewers over from Twitch to Facebook. They seem to be very loyal on whichever platform. I began to play COD Mobile, and I actually had a controller plugging into it because I never thought myself playing iPad, right? Like mobile gaming, I'm an old school gamer. I started playing like about 25 years ago. Now I'm on iPad, man. I love it. I actually can't spread the message enough. There's something so natural about aiming with one finger on the left and then shooting with the finger on the right. It just feels more natural to actually going to a range and shooting a gun versus like having your hands stuck on a controller. So I don't know if you've ever tried it, but I actually recommend it. It's an incredible feeling, and it took me about like a month to get used to it and become really good at it.
Do you ever see like any of the attachments onto the iPad or phone or anything like that? Do you think that helps you versus like, just going pure fingers on it?
Honestly, the only thing that I use are finger sleeves, man. Those are very, very key on your thumbs, especially because they help you aim better. And honestly, like once you get good, you're gonna see very little difference as far as like keyboard and mouse controller versus like actual touch. Like I'm pretty like precise when it comes to like sniping and all that, and it's fun. I like COD Mobile a lot because the reason I was attracted to it initially is it's that old school COD feel, right? That we had like 15 years ago, and I was just like, oh man, this is nice. It brought me way back to memory lane, man. I was like, this is fantastic.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah, I've seen some videos of COD Mobile blowing up lately. So that's it is definitely interesting to hear like the different take that they've kind of done with it and where they're going. What's the best way to play a mobile game in general then? So, you mentioned you like the iPad rather than a controller, but how about iPad versus iPhone versus Android? Have you done testing between those like or is there like a consensus out there that you've seen?
Stone, I absolutely love this question, and here's how I'm going to say it. If you have big hands, you have to go with the iPad, man, because if you're a basketball player, you got big hands, or you're just a big human being, you got to go with the iPad, man. Like I tried the phone, and it just seems like the buttons, those on screen sort of like see through buttons, like they're just very big, and it's very hard to like for me to maneuver my hands. But when I jump to the iPad, especially the 12.9-inch iPad Pro, and I'm not sponsored by Apple. I'm just saying it's really good. Yeah, it made a world of a difference, man. So that's how I see it. Like if you have small hands, a phone works, or if you're trying to just have fun. But if you're going competitive, if you're going pro, if you want to be one of the best out there, you want to have the best hardware, the best frames, you got to go with the iPad, man. It's top tier.
Tons of new mobile games have been coming out in 2022. Rainbow Six, Assassin's Creed, Division, Warzone Mobile, Valorant Mobile, just to name a few, right? Which one have you been the most excited for? Are you the most excited for?
Love that question. First of all, I'm excited for the mobile industry in general. It is absolutely exploding, and I love the fact that there are so many AAA titles coming. And even when you look at these statistics for the market of mobile gaming around globally, it is absolutely just growing everywhere. It's so accessible, everyone can play it. But the two games that I'm actually looking most forward to is obviously a continuation of Call of Duty Mobile, which is going to be Warzone Mobile. I'm super excited for that. and then Valorant. Obviously, Riot Games, you know, the kings of esports. I've actually spoken on Twitter to one of their heads of marketing, so that's pretty exciting. Hopefully, I get in on that, but definitely those two for me.
I know those are so massive on, especially Valorant just being on PC. It's like that extension in the mobile, I feel like would be massive. And Riot always does so good with their games. It's like I got to imagine it's going to be incredible. So that's definitely exciting. On June 30th, 2021, I was looking in. You got verified on Facebook Gaming.
Mhm.
What were some of the key milestones that helped you get to that point?
What really stood out for me was the fact that I was always giving back. I was doing these massive charity streams. I worked with the Pediatric Brain Tumor Foundation. I believe last year, up to that point, with my time on Facebook. So within about like 2 years, I raised something like $35,000-$40,000 US. And that's what really helped me put my name out there. There was a lot of articles being written about my giving back and the charities and the good deeds that I was doing back. And that's what really helped me, man. Like, honestly, like, you know, I had like editors reaching out from various different publications. And that's kind of the advice that I have for upcoming creators is do your gaming, but try to do a little bit something nice on the side for people, like giving back. I think it really helps. And it allows you to meet other people that have like-minded qualities.
I mean, when you're doing that charity, I know a lot of people love to try and get into charity streams or to do that, or even successfully do it to a degree as well, right? But like, is there anything that stood out to you when you were doing those live streams of the content you were producing within that, or what you were doing even within it to help differentiate it or to help tell that story, or what was that for you?
At certain milestones, I was, you know, dressing up like a girl and putting on like a wig and you know, so I mean, it was producing like awesome content, to be honest with you. Like for me, it really stood out because I was doing things out of my comfort zone. I mean, I never thought of myself ever doing that. I mean, I watched Dennis Rodman do it with Michael Jordan when I was, you know, way back, right? Like cross dressing and doing this funny stuff, but I never saw myself doing that. And then, you know, I think charities opened up this whole world of, you know, just going out and stepping out of your comfort zone and just doing things that you never thought you would do in order to obviously achieve your goals and to be able to, you know, hopefully get more money for these sick kids. God bless their hearts. Yeah, like that's what it is for me, man. It just produced a whole lot of awesome content, like wicked pictures, memes. My community was just throwing memes on the daily. It was unbelievable. So
We looked into it a bit. You've raised over $200,000 for Pediatric Brain Tumor Foundation through these charity streams, right? Like, how has establishing your platform to help serve this community impacted you as a creator and a person?
it goes to one of my keys to being a successful streamer is my attitude. When I was younger, I was all about, I started in the OG StarCraft days. So to give you a little background on myself, I started with StarCraft 1. I'm very OG before Brood War came. You know, I was actually playing for a professional, one of the first original professional teams. It was called XDs. They were from Montreal. One of the professional players actually was the first guy to ever become an international player to go to Korea. So that was really cool. But see, back then I was all about competitiveness and, you know, had this tough guy attitude and, you know, grr, I'm masculine, rough, I'm like a barbarian, you know. And then what I realized, you know, especially as I got older into my streaming career, is, you know, attitude is so important, just being happy, positive. And that's really what it helped shed light on and improve in myself through these charity streams is my positive attitude, man. Like, you know, I don't swear as much on stream. I try to be as happy as I can, right? Like, you know, instead of just kind of like selling the service of, oh, me, myself playing a professional game, I sell an attitude. I sell like people coming and they feel better about their day, right? We live in such a world where like, you know, you turn on the TV and it's just so much negativity. And then, you know, it kind of hit me. I'm like, this really helped. Like just these charity streams giving back and all that. And it really improved myself as a person.
There's definitely the entertainment side of like being massively competitive and being the best at it, and that appeals to an audience, but you're also an entertainer. Like that's the you're getting attention on the stream, whatever, bringing people together for a cause in many different ways. And so that is very much like, how do you entertain people? And so it's cool to hear like how you found that avenue as well as you mentioned earlier, getting out of your comfort zone too. I mean, through some of the challenges and goals along the way for these things that take you out of that, I guess, like, is there anything even that you tell yourself or helps you get out of that comfort zone? Because I know even for me, like sometimes it's like, I don't want to do this, go up on a stage for the first time or go to an
Mhm.
event or whatever? Is there anything that helps you like get out of that comfort zone and realize that?
A lot of it is the audience, and I think very selflessly. So a lot of people I think would be like, oh, I'm not going to go up on stage and do that because it's going to embarrass myself and I'm going to look funny. It's going to make my character look a little awkward, right? I got this professional on stream pro gamer type look. So I kind of just push that away and I say, you know what, like, in a way, it's almost like your fans are going to love you more. Your community is going to love you more because they see this other quirky, awkward, funny side of you that they haven't seen before, and that's what helps me. I mean, in a way, it helps you connect even on a deeper way with your community, right?
In a lot of ways, it's like that's what the authenticity of a stream is like your reaction to crazy scenarios and you getting put into that and having that like you can't edit it or whatever, especially if it's live. Of course you can for after, but like that's part of being there and like the fun of it and everything. And so that like what is your reaction to it? On socials, you've shared a lot kind of even about your mental health journey, constantly trying to spread positivity in general. You even mentioned it here. What are some of the ways that you help balance your own life and streams? Because I know that's something that's always difficult in general. I hear from so many different people, but I mean, you're streaming 6 hours a day, 5 days a week. That's a lot of total time to be doing it.
One of my secret keys is when I wake up in the morning and I take my first shower, I always smile for about a minute or two in the shower. I read online that it releases some sort of chemicals that you almost trick yourself that you're happy, and it happens right away, right when you get up out of bed. Right, you take your first shower, you smile. It really helps me. It makes me feel happy, feel better. And then if I have a negative thought, I will immediately think of like three positive things that I'm very thankful for in my life. And I've started doing those two things, and it's really helped me kind of become this really positive, happy guy, not just online, not just when
Right.
I'm working, but offline, right? Like with my family, with my friends, with my relationships. So those are two keys to success that I would encourage everybody to just try out. Like, when you're showering, just smile. When you're feeling down, think of three positive things, right? Like, I love my family, I have an amazing girlfriend, and I'm a fantastic streamer. Those three things, boom, right away, you're gonna have an awesome stream. And I even do that before I stream. I think of like three things that I'm really thankful for. Those really help me. And on top of that, another really important key for me is your mod squad. Like I don't think that gets enough credit, right? Like, we often talk a lot about the streamer themselves, but the people behind you, the team that you assemble. I mean, it's been a heck of a journey, and I'm sure it's been that way for you to find the right people that stick around for a really long time, and and keep you on point, help you with the content and the community, right? Like keeping it clean and all that. So I think those are big for me every single day.
And that's what I was gonna even ask, like even going into the stream then, like, do you have a specific routine? Do you go live at the same time every day? Like, what is even your specific schedule like that, helps you stay in a routine or whatever that might be?
I think consistency is probably the most difficult thing for new streamers to kind of like overcome, get past that, and develop the nice schedule. So, what really helps me is I'm in bed, but I try to be in bed by midnight. I try to put my phone away in a different room. So I just stay in my thoughts. I think blue light is really bad for you. And then when I wake up, I actually do about 30 minutes of yoga. Really helps, man. I'm telling you,
Yeah,
like
like
like just loosening up your body, you feel good, you're breathing nice. Just I can't explain it, man. It's just like a Zen mode. So that really helps. And then yes, I go live every single day, 1 p.m. Eastern. I try my best not to miss streams. Unfortunately, I missed one yesterday because I was sick, but you know, very consistent schedule is super important. Super important for creators. Yeah.
and then like when you are live, you mentioned your mod squad, your mods that help you as you're going through the stream. Obviously, it's a lot of hours to be live and to create content. Is there like anything in particular that you found really successful working with those guys in terms of like a process to help you keep on track or to help them even moderate the chat or you to keep in a good rhythm as you're working on the content?
I'm gonna give you a little bit of insider info that we have here on my channel. So we actually have a document. We keep it very professional for onboarding all new moderators. It's a 2-page document that lists all the requirements, what you're expected to do, things like communication, things like managing the groups and all that. So we have it very detailed. So I think that's very important. Also, that if you are going to develop a system, it is important to have it fairly professional. It keeps people on point. Aside from that, we have a lot of fun together. I'll send them like random merch. Sometimes we'll have like a get together, especially if a mod lives somewhere close by. They'll come down for a couple days. I'll actually hang out with them, go to like downtown, and just so just keeping like that friendly atmosphere, not just always a working one, but almost like a family. We're like a family almost. So I think those two things are really key for me, like, keeping it professional, but also, just staying friends off stream and just hanging out when we can and playing games together sometimes.
How do you communicate like the guidelines, the rules for your channel? And like, cause certain people won't talk about certain topics, or, you want to keep a certain environment in your streams and your content, but how do you communicate that? Obviously, you got a very professional way with your mods to do that. Do you do the same thing with the audience? Like, how do you teach them about it more or less, or new viewers or things?
I obviously have my rules up when it comes to like the Facebook chat that just pops up. So that's pretty helpful on its own. Aside from that, yes, very professionally trained moderators, so they know like what I like and don't like. But for myself, when I look at chat, I like to remind them, no politics, no religion, please, and just keep it gaming. I don't want to even like news. I don't want to talk about that stuff, man. Like I try to keep this as like a safe house, right? Like we have all this stuff going on around us, and then when you come here, it's good vibes. Everything's positive. We're just a bunch of gamers coming together, man, having a good time. I'm very vocal about it. I talk about it, right? Like it could be even a supporter that, if they go out of line, I will say like, hey, that's not something that I want to talk about here, so please don't say it anymore. And we'll have one of the moderators kind of like time them out. You do that, and it creates like this wonderful atmosphere. I mean, of course, the trolls are gonna come. It happens. You're not successful if there aren't any trolls, but that's why you have to have a really awesome mod squad, man.
Yeah, it's a good perspective to have on it. It's good to hear kind of your take and how you work on it as you go. We just had an episode that was all about Instagram Reels, short form content. You're a creator that has learned, you know, a lot about all of this, leaned heavily into Instagram, YouTube Shorts, TikTok. I see posts, you've got daily posts going on all these. How have you seen it impacting your brand so far?
It's probably the most important thing that I do right now. Like I do create long form YouTube videos, but definitely reels are the thing right now, right? Like TikTok is exploding, Instagram reels are doing great. You got Facebook reels happening, and Facebook reels get a lot of views, man. Like if you're a content creator and you're not doing Facebook reels, I ask myself like, what are you doing? Like it is literally probably top two things most important: going live, doing reels, and I always do my reels at the same time consistently before I go live. So that for me is like noon. I go live at 1. At noon, I get up, whatever, I'm brushing my teeth, I do my yoga, and then boom, I do my reels. As far as reels go, like, here's the thing. Like, and this is something that I want to explore. I want to start doing more reels when it comes to like IRL stuff or just fun things. It could be revolving around gaming, a little bit more planning, but highlights and clips work just as well. So if you have a really good mod squad, goes back to what we were talking about being professional. They can capture some incredible clips for you. Like something that I'm doing, I'm a bit of a wacko when I play Call of Duty. I'm actually maneuvering a helicopter, going into the side seat now, and then just throwing the Kobe grenades, and I actually hit them, man.
That's good. Hey, it's
So,
good strategy. There you go.
so I've become like the Kobe bastard when it comes to COD Mobile. But yeah, man, like just reels are super important. Those are probably my favorite, man, and I definitely want to even put in more time into that.
Yeah. And I mean, obviously, with posting like across so many of the different platforms, you're going to get a lot more feedback. You're going to get into a lot more people's algorithm, like seen by things. I guess in the same way, we're talking a bit about like live comments, moderation on those things. How do you manage comments, engagement, things across all of the different platforms, whether that's positive, negative, critiques, trolls?
I think when you first blow up as a content creator, and I sincerely hope that each and every single one of you do, the biggest thing that you're gonna have to learn to do is ignore the trolls. They don't matter. Focus on yourself. Don't worry about it. It's just a part of being successful. I mean, if you ever go to a courtside basketball game, a baseball game, etc., how many times do the players get yelled at and profanities? And my God, they even know stuff about their mom and their sister and their names. And I'm just like, wow. Like I went to a Blue Jays playoff game and I was sitting beside this heckler and I was shocked. I'm like, he knows everything about this guy. He's standing right there. Like, So I think you just have to kind of train your mind and you just tune it out. And to me, it becomes to a point where I'm kind of like blinded by it. And sometimes I'll just have fun with it. I'll reply like in a really funny way. I'll say something, obviously it's not going to be too sensitive, but I'll say something really funny. So that helps me. But as far as like moderation across all the platforms go, obviously on Facebook, like I have my moderators and all that. And on Facebook, it's like AI. I think there's a lot of AI driven when it comes to like moderation, which actually helps us a lot. So I do love that. But across like, TikTok, Instagram and all that, I mean, I kind of just check my notifications every once in a while and I just see what it is. But I find that the platforms generally, if it's overly sensitive, right? If it's like religious or a really bad word, or if it's like truly sexist, they'll kind of get rid of it and like it'll get reported automatically, hopefully. Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah, no, I was just curious if there's anything else in particular there. The way that you package your brand across all your socials and your merch, it looks great. It looks cohesive. What advice would you have for creators that are looking to create that holistic brand like yours across everything?
When I first created merch, like the thing that was important for me is just to keep it simple. I know a lot of creators do this very complex, like, a lot of design. So I think like something that's a reflection of you. Like I view life in a little bit more of a simple way, right? Like I have like, three keys to success instead of like 20 of them, and just picking a good company that will, kind of like expose your brand, that will be quality. So you don't have to worry about, things not being shipped out. That was something that is a bit of an issue when COVID hit. A lot of people weren't getting the merch and then, they were coming back to me and etc. So, reputable brand, picking like, something that's very relevant to you. And, just something that's cool. Like I'll probably do merch with like something like Kobe and Call of Duty eventually, because it's something that popped up.
Sweet. In recent months, too, you've kind of made a bigger push over towards YouTube. We were talking about some of the different platforms in general, Facebook and some of the reels and stuff. What have been some pros and cons of growing a community, I guess across all the platforms, but even more so, even with YouTube, whether that's shorts or even long form content?
Well, one of the cons, and I mean it's not so much of a con because we could turn it into a positive, is the time spent, the strategy planning, forecasting what content you're gonna do, having like a content calendar. It is tremendously time consuming, especially dealing with all the video editors, the thumbnail artists. So you have to really prepare yourself, in your personal life for that type of commitment, right? Like I see a lot of Facebook creators focusing on Facebook a lot, but it's not as common for them to transition over to, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. And I do highly encourage it because you're attaching yourself to a new audience and then you can migrate that new audience over to Facebook. And that's what helps keep you in the algorithm, especially when times are tough. Like another overlooked important thing, for creators is you go on this high where you're kind of like going up on views and things are going amazing and you're getting thousands, and then you almost feel like you're at a rave or something. You're like, yeah, the beat dropped and I'm like bang bang bang. But as you're longer into the industry, you realize there's ups and downs. So you need to prepare yourself for that down when the views are maybe not as good. You're in a transition phase. Your audience, some of them might stick around, some of them might not, right? Like as you go to a new game. And a positive is the fact that you have all these other platforms. That's when it's going to come most in handy, because you're going to be able to continuously bring in that new audience, which will sort of mitigate that feeling when you're down, right? Because you have this new audience coming in, especially when it's not coming in as much from your main platform. So I think those are kind of like the biggest things for me, and why I decided to also do content on the other platforms, because they're going to help.
Yeah, absolutely. And, there's a certain level of diversification that's always beneficial, whether you're going up or whether you're going down or whatever that is. It's a very good point. Playing on mobile games can be very tricky, especially to stream it. I'm very impressed with it. You're screen capturing from an iPad. You've got a camera pointed at the iPad itself. You got a camera pointed at your face, plus the lighting to get it all to go with no reflections on any of the screens that are coming off, right? Like, how do you balance capturing all of that while playing the game and while interacting with chat, probably at a computer with another monitor with the chat and everything up too?
Part of being a streamer, man, has been the growth of learning so many new things, right? Like learning audio levels and and learning like the video capturing and making the best video and buying a new camera and making it look cool. Like before this I was using like a webcam. Now I got myself a DSLR. And the setup. Yeah, like it's just about just coming up with cool things. Like I wanted to show people my hands, right? Like I've seen people have like keyboard and mouse cams, but like, it just looks so cool when you have like a touch screen. So how I balance it all out, just continuously learning, man. If I'm popping by a streamer and let's say I like something that he does, I'm gonna be like, oh, I can do something very similar to that. It looks cool. And I think that's another really important aspect for creators coming up is if you have somebody that you're watching all the time and it's somebody that's motivated you and you really like them, see the little things that they're doing, what type of microphone they're using, what type of webcam, how do they have it set up. So me, for myself, like, I mean, I have a camera up here, to capture like my hands. I got like the face camera. I have like a laptop as well that shows like the stream and if it's functioning properly. And I have like the chat, the alerts, and then I have another monitor for like the PS5 where it's like showing like the iPad screen to make sure that's going okay. And then you have like the main computer that's like capturing. It gets very, very complicated. It's almost like, when my parents come over to my place, they're just like, wow, you have like a nuclear power station in here. Like, what are you launching some codes or something?
Yeah, you got a
They
whole
think I'm
battle
working for the
station.
CIA. But yeah, the best part is the learning. It's continuous learning, continuous improvement, and there's always something fun to explore. That I just love it. Like for me right now, to give an example, as sophisticated as my setup is, I don't have a stream deck, right? Like that's something that I haven't implemented yet, and I'm going into like my fifth year of streaming, right? So there's always something, and it's super fun, super fun.
I mean, it sounds like for you, this has been a building process of like, not necessarily having it all at one time, but the learning and the building up process to where you are now over all these years of doing it.
Yeah, like I think the biggest mistake that we can do, and I think it's not just for streaming, is to get too comfortable, right? Like when we're too comfortable, we kind of just lean back. We don't learn as much. So for me, it's always like, is there a better microphone that I can have? Is there a better camera? Is there a better way that I can set up the stream to look more cool? Can I add a different transition? There's always something you can do, and continuous learning is probably one of the biggest keys to success for any creator. Like I think like the only time you would have trouble with that is if you're getting into the esports scene and you're living in like an esports house, right? Like when I was doing it when I first started out and I was playing StarCraft, it's a little bit difficult because you're kind of like strapped in and you're always practicing like 8 hours a day and you're
Yeah.
going to LAN tournaments and whatnot. But I mean, when you're a streamer, it's a free world, man. Like, and you
It's
gotta
up to your
take
creativity.
advantage of that. Yeah.
Yeah. Your streams, obviously, your content has been growing, especially you mentioned, and we've seen mobile games blowing up. Call of Duty Mobile in particular has grown a lot, especially in popularity due to streamers, creators like you. How do you see mobile gaming changing the landscape for streaming going into the future?
The one thing that I really love about mobile gaming, and I hope that it stays this way, I find mobile games to be really fun. So what separates COD Mobile from Warzone? The fun factor, man. Like you can do like crazy stuff in it. Like, you have like I think it's something like 10 skills per character. Some of them like, release dogs on like a guy, Some of them like you have like a ninja and it's like a hook and like you can go to like on top of a house and there's no footsteps. And what can you do with that? You can have the funnest custom lobbies that I've ever experienced. So for instance, what I had last weekend, man, was we all put on boxing gloves as our melee weapons, and then you have this other class which is called spotter. So you actually like launch an airstrike on a little part of the map, right? So we had like everybody dropping at this one part with boxing gloves on, no guns allowed, no bullets, only nades, boxing gloves, and spotters. He had a bunch of planes going off, dropping bombs on people with people boxing each other. So the fun factor, man.
I wish they would do that more, even on Warzone. It's something I've been so like vocal about for so long. It's like, come on, give us like custom because they do good custom games for like even their multiplayer mode. But it's like I want that for Warzone. The even joining process needs to be better. But I mean, it's great to hear they did that. And that's the thing. Like I always hear so many positive things about it, and it continues to keep growing. It's 2022, already a few months in. What are some things that you're looking forward to this year?
Hopefully traveling more, man. I'm really looking forward to that. I haven't gotten a chance to do that. That's probably my most favorite thing on top of all the amazing game releases, man. I am super excited for the mobile gaming landscape. I hope that more creators jump in on it. If you're a new creator, I really suggest you do because it's booming on Facebook. The algorithm, absolutely love it. The community is wonderful. And those are the two things that I most look forward to.
Awesome. And if anybody wants to, connect with you, what's the best place to find you?
Twitter, Instagram. I also have a business email, StarbeastGG@gmail.com. You're welcome to contact me on all three. I'm one of those type of creators that, I don't really like other people managing my stuff. I like to stay very authentic. So I reply to my DMs quite often. I create my own tweets, respond and all that. So feel free to reach out, man. I love it when people do that.
Awesome. Listen, man, StarBeast, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for joining on the podcast today. And if you guys want to find any more of our podcasts, of course, pipeline.gg. But it's been phenomenal, man. And happy streaming.
Thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode. I wanted to just end this with a little bit of context on why we do what we do. We're former content creators ourselves, and we just really want to help as many content creators as we can. That's why we started pipeline.gg. It's a platform where you can find other like-minded creators and learn from the pros who have already been there. Get step-by-step guidance so you can avoid all the mistakes that we made in the beginning. If you love the episode, there's going to be even more insight on Pipeline. So check it out. Head over to pipeline.gg.